What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu, Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bringing incredible guests from all over the world. So sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest was a tank commander in the Army. After experiencing several illnesses and injuries, he discovered natural ways to regain his health. At 25 years old, he established one of Denver's largest healing centers. Since then, has now taken his expertise to a virtual weight loss company, combining natural health methods and uplifting psychological principles. Please welcome Dr. Cody Golman. Dr. Cody, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
And again, and I'm going to say this again, which I already did before we started recording, but I want to honor and thank you for your service to our country and the sacrifices that you made. I feel like we have gotten lost in our country in the last couple of years, and it's important to acknowledge what you have done for us. So thank you again.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So, okay, illnesses and injuries. So let's start there a little bit. Like, what were the things that happened to you that put you on the path to finding natural healing and bringing it to other people?
Yeah, I'll keep that brief because I've lived so much life before 40. Mm-hmm. Basically, I joined the military at 17 when you could do that. I was still in high school, and I was the bullet kid. So I was on these tanks that the bullets are 100 pounds apiece. And the bullet hole is about a foot over my head. I'm 6 foot tall. So I was throwing these bullets. You can shoot 3 a minute. So I was taking these 100-pound bullets and throwing 3 over my head a minute. Over the course of 6 months, I started having numbness and tingling in my hands. And I go to the doctor, and I go to the really cardiovascular specialist and neurologist. And I went to all these specialists, and they kept saying, "Nothing, we can't find anything wrong," but I got pills.
Yeah.
And eventually I started kind of basically having more problems. I've started having heart problems and lung problems and asthmas. And my mom said, "Hey, your grandfather was a World War II veteran. He saw a chiropractor. Maybe you should try it." And I said, I want to see a real doctor.
Yeah.
And I went to this guy, and he goes, "Hey, man, you did an x-ray." He said, "You got a pinched nerve in your neck." And I said, "That's bullshit. No, that's not true. Because there's no way. I already saw a neurologist."
Yeah.
And he did an adjustment on me, an electric shock shot down from my head to my hand, and my feeling came back after months.
Yeah.
My strength came back over the course of time. My heart palpitation got better, and my asthma completely cleared. And so that was the moment that I said, whoa, I'm not going the same route. Had I taken those medications over the next 40 years, what would have that done to my health? And that's really why I am who I am.
Yeah. Well, they love to push the pills.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that with COVID. They love to push the drugs, anything to keep you hooked. So good for you. So now, do you believe in chiropractors?
Yeah. So I became one chiropractor, right? And I dedicated my life. I had an office for 20 years doing that. And my main role was, I had people that healed from diabetic conditions, cancers. I had patients who healed from AIDS. These are documented cases here in Denver, Colorado. And it's interesting because one of the main things I loved doing was educating people. If people knew how magical their body really is, you would not be running to a pill. You have, just to start off like this, people understand, hormones and glands, at least they think they do. Right. For example, the thyroid gland. This is the big one. This is the next trend, the thyroid gland. Do you know that you have 220 plus glands in your body? Your thyroid's one of them.
No.
Each gland produces 10 to 100,000 chemicals. Each gland. So basically, each gland is its own freaking pharmaceutical company.
Right.
So when people knew that, they just wouldn't be, running to the doctors and trying to pump some medications in their body.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I'm pro homeopathic, pro supplementation, pro healthy lifestyle, pro all the things. I love the chiropractor. My one girlfriend, she was becoming a chiropractor here in the Chicagoland area. And while she was doing her hands-on training, I was getting adjustments all the time. I would train her at the gym and she would adjust me. So it was a good deal. I was really loose and limber at that moment. So no, I'm a big believer. And there's different types of chiropractors that there's different studies that chiropractors, when they go to school, they can choose to do. I actually, maybe you can educate us a little bit on this. I went to a street fest, and there was a guy doing free adjustments but he actually used like vials of something that he would have you hold, and depending on how you held it, he knew how to adjust you and what was going on with you. What do you know what that is?
Yeah, I didn't do that technique because I love dealing with something much more powerful.
Okay,
Now, I said it that way because I don't want to knock what people are doing,
sure.
but as doctors and as anyone who understands quantum physics, energy is the much more powerful substance to work with. So I won't go into detail of what he was doing, but I will tell you, after all the techniques I tried, there was a really old philosophy, and some of the original chiropractors back in the 1895 was when this was founded,
Wow.
and it had nothing to do with people standing up straight. Chiropractic has nothing to do with getting people loose. It has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah.
The principle is to make sure that your brain, which is the best doctor you have,
Yeah.
the doctor that built your body, sends signals down your spinal cord out to your internal organs. That's the only purpose of chiropractic. I could care less if you stand straight. I could care less if your back's crooked. We
Yeah.
want to make sure your nerves are getting signals through, because that's why I saw people heal from AIDS and cancers and sickle cell anemias. So that's really what great chiropractor will focus on. How they do it is kind of the art, right?
Yeah.
But that's the principles of it. So understanding those principles are really key. And that's kind of how I got into both quantum physics and the weight loss industry. Was I was watching people basically come in. I'd have a patient who would say, "Dr. Golman, my stomach is hurting," right? And what I started hearing their inner thoughts. So I had a woman who said, "Dr. Golman, my digestive system, my digestive tract is off and I'm hurting." But I heard her say, "My husband's an asshole."
Yeah.
She didn't say that.
Right.
So you started realizing the stuff that you repress gets expressed. So that's number one. That's a big principle for people to hear. If you think that you're going to shove down your feelings and it's not going to do anything, I
No.
guarantee that's what's creating illness in your body. So that's kind of where I went with that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, we are so complex, but yet so simple, right? Our bodies and our system, like it's all connected. So if you're having stress somewhere, having some emotional problems, it is going to take a toll on your body. And it's going to come
Yeah.
out, it's going to come out ways that you don't want it to come out, pain in your shoulder, pain in your back, and, the digestive system. So, we are very sensitive to those things. And I think people are very out of touch, or not as connected, or in touch with their bodies to know that that's what's really happening.
Yeah, exactly. And if you over the years, I mean, I've worked with thousands of patients. That's kind of what started happening. Was I started realizing this is a principle for people to really process in their lives. Your body is a loudspeaker.
Yeah.
So what that means is your body's not a cause. I really want people to really grasp this. If you have a headache, headaches aren't a cause.
Yeah.
If you have a stomach ache, that's not a cause. So if you go to a doctor to ask them to remove your headache or your stomach ache, you're not dealing with the cause. If you go to a doctor and let's say that like I work with weight loss now. If you say, "Hey doc, can you get rid of this fat?" Fat's not the cause.
Mm-hmm.
These are the effects. Your body is an effect. And so one of the reasons I started getting into weight loss was because we had patients who were healing from incredible stuff, but they were doing like Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and all these things that were so freaking unhealthy, unbelievably unhealthy. And that's when I started linking together. Well, wait a minute. If your body's a loudspeaker, what does excess fat mean? What is your body trying to say? And there's many things, but for a lot of the women listening, this will be a really good example. I had a woman who she was in her 30s, probably 40 pounds of excess weight. And as I started to coach her through this, she would lose weight and gain it back, which a lot of people will experience. They're losing weight and gaining it back.
Yeah.
And so we sat down and had a conversation. And long story short, she had a physical sexual abuse from a male family member at a young age. So there was an unconscious decision to become unattractive because she noticed the more weight she put on, the less attention she got from men.
Right.
So when I had her losing weight, all of a sudden it's like, shit, we got a big problem. Now I'm becoming attractive to men.
Yeah.
And so we actually had to rewire her consciousness and her programs to make sure that when she lost weight, it would stay off. So you got to understand that the body really is a loudspeaker of what's going on inside you.
Yeah. So as chiropractor that, you know, has studied a certain way to heal people. How did you address that with your clients? You know, because that's pretty, you know, intense. Like if she was abused at a younger age, I mean, and probably didn't want to really deal with it or talk about it.
Yeah. I didn't, as a chiropractor, I didn't say a thing. There's not, you don't need to. Energy is transmitted without words. As a matter of fact, most of us, when you communicate with people, the most unimportant part of communication is words.
Hmm.
The most unimportant part of communication is words. The most important part of communication is what the subconscious mind is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I transmitted, let's say, health programs and vibration from subconscious to subconscious. That's 90% of communication. People don't have to be trained on it. It's already happening. You take a woman who's sitting in a bar and a really good looking guy dressed up comes to her and says, "Hey, I'd like to take you out to dinner." But she feels him thinking, "I would really love to just get you in bed and sleep with you."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's subconscious communication. So I didn't address any of this with my patients. I just allowed their energy and frequency to do its work.
Yeah. Why do you think so? Like I said before we started recording, there's this new like quantum energy, quantum physics, whatever, is starting to become a lot. People are talking about it a lot. You're the second guest I've had on that is talking about this form of healing or form of healing. And so, why do you think it's important for people to understand that this is a real thing and that this can help them wherever they're at in their lives, whatever they're dealing with?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Super cool that it's starting to become more relevant. I've been studying this for over 20 years. So this is an old idea, but it's interesting because this idea is the idea that honestly never gets old
Right.
because you can't really find it. So currently, I'll just say this because this might be enjoyable for most listeners. I just launched a book called The 4 Secrets to Permanent Weight Loss.
Okay.
Secret number 4 is literally the process of rewiring your brain. If you've gone through trauma and you're having excess weight because of it, that secret goes through that. Okay. So I say that because I've combined the natural healthcare methods with understanding the who and what we are. So if we look at quantum just means the smallest measurement of energy that we can find. Okay.
Right.
And so it's important to understand what this even means, what this is.
Right.
If let's go back to the basics. First of all, everyone knows they have a body. If you understand you have a body, you're not a body, you're much better off.
Hmm.
If you understand that you have a mind and you're not a mind,
Right.
you're much better off.
Yeah.
If you understand that you are a soul, you can use the word soul, it doesn't have to be religious, energy, you are a being
Right.
with a mind and body, you're much better off. And here's why. Since I said your body is a loudspeaker, if you try to change your body, it's kind of like, your when you look at it, your body is just the result. So I want people to work with causes, not effects.
Right.
Most of our healthcare system and even weight loss programs deal with the effect, the body.
Right.
But if you drill with the cause, the effect changes, right?
Yeah.
So quantum really, what that really means is people, and you really have to have education. That's why I take all my weight loss clients through education. I have a whole course I run them through, but basically helping them to understand who they really are. And so when you look at some of the basic fundamentals of energy, there's a few things to grasp. Number one, everything is energy. There's an old philosophy by Hermes. I don't know if you guys have heard of Hermes.
Yeah.
He's an old he's a Greek god. He's also an Egyptian god. Okay, his name was different in Egyptian. Okay, yeah, named Thoth. But basically, it's the same guy. Okay, same energy.
Yeah. Right.
And what this energy said, we're talking 5,000-6,000 years long before most of our religions. But what he said was, listen, everything's energy.
Yeah.
Everything's energy. Okay, that's his first principle. That's his first law. Everything's energy.
Yeah.
He said an energy has one attribute and one manifestation. Okay, so everything in your life is energy. Your daughter, your mother, the air you're breathing, your food, the person I'm talking to right now, me, my glasses, oxygen. It's all energy. Okay, right? So it has one attribute and one manifestation. In other words, everything in your life can do this. One attribute is change. That's the only thing that energy can do. This is important. The only thing energy can do is change. That's all it can do. and its only manifestation is motion.
Yeah.
So the only thing that anything in your life can do is change and move. So when people think that they have the same relationship, they're wrong.
Right.
You're choosing the same relationship. This is a principle of energy. That's why quantum, when I look at it from this angle, quantum coaching and the quantum principles, they basically call you out on your shit is what really it is. Because you can't have the same life. You can't have the same body unless you have the same level of consciousness.
Yeah.
And you keep choosing that every single second. So
I love it, man. You're speaking my language, but I'm sure a lot of people out there, we lost them a little bit because it's it's a little bit deeper to understand. It really is deeper to understand. I'm big into energy. Like I am very sensitive to it. And so like I cannot be around, and this might be very trivial compared to what you're doing with people and helping your clients, but negative energy. Like I cannot be around it because it affects me. So I'm more of an empath where I can take on people's feelings and that energy that they're carrying with them, because I personally love to just be very bright, happy. Woo, I'm here. Hi, I don't like to have, and that's a way for me to keep myself healthy, because in making those positive manifestations, right? All right, what was the first one?
Oh, the attribute and the manifestation, right?
So the positive attribute to manifest the
Motion.
Right. So there you go. So maybe that might help the audience understand that a little bit. And so I think if they're trying to attack something, there's an issue in their life, to focus on the positive attribute to get the positive outcome.
Well, I'd love to address that with you for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me bring up the law of polarity.
Okay.
The law of polarity states that everything exists in equal positive and negative. There is no positive without negative. There is no negative without positive. These are human consciousness. This is what humans try to do, which I've done for a long time, which is try to have all the good without the bad. It doesn't exist.
Well, no.
And yeah. So here's the interesting piece of this, right? So when I used to be a positive thinker, and I stopped that a long time ago, and here's why. You'll notice in the universe, if we take down the most basic elements of matter, and if we look at, for example, people don't understand what atoms are, the old atomic model. But if we look at the nucleus has neutrons and protons. Neutrons are neutral, protons are positive, okay? And then around the nucleus was electrons, which are negative.
Yeah.
Inside a proton, if you have two protons, you have two electrons. The positives always equal the negatives.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you try to be positive, not you, I'm just saying in general, if someone tries to be positive, they're going to attract negative. This is why people say, why do bad things happen to good people?
True, because that can be okay, keep going. Sorry. I didn't want to.
And the reason why I want to say this, and I love this conversation we're having, is because if I, for example, let me give you a real life example on this, which will really be kind of cool with people. Let's say I try to be a good guy.
Yes.
And I believe I'm only good. That's not true. It can't be true, because I am made up of both positives and negatives.
Right.
So the more I try to be good, and here's an example. If I for example, let's say I not only believe I'm good, but I want to show women in my life, as let's say I'm dating, I want to show women that I'm really good. Okay. Yeah. I'm a good guy. Yeah. I will attract bad or negative women to balance me out, until I start receiving and accepting the idea that I am both bad and good, and stop bullshitting myself.
Yes.
So I love the dating example, because so many women that I talk to go, why am I attracting these crappy men? And I go, well, I'll go, why are they crappy? They go, well, they're just dishonest. And then my first question is, where's your dishonesty? Right. And the faster they can come to where they're dishonest, the faster they'll watch the men in their lives change.
Yeah. And so I 1,000% agree, because I used to attract negative. Now my God recently got married. My new husband is amazing. Like we are very much similar, just very not. I think once I accepted myself for who I was, the good and the bad.
Yes.
I stopped attracting those bad men.
Bingo.
So yeah. So I love that, and I never really thought about it as the energy, but I did. But it's the same concept. Same concept.
Yep. Yeah, I love that you saw that, and that's why I wanted to bring that up to you because I could tell. Yeah, those universal principles. If people want to look them up, there's a book called the Kabbalion, and this is some of the original writings from the Greek and Egyptian god I told you about, Hermes or Thoth, and he has 7 universal principles in there, and they're just incredible life principles that apply to all aspects of life. So those are the principles I use when running people through the virtual weight loss program and getting people back to health. Is like that example. The I'll say the infatuation that I had with being good brought me so many bad relationships, and that's such a great example for you. I had an infatuation with being healthy, by the way.
Hmm.
I thought you're just healthy all the time. You're energized, your vitality.
Right.
Well, the problem is that can't be the case, because if you don't let yourself go into parasympathetic and rest, I was someone who never rested, never took vacation.
Oh, yeah.
I drank, I just burnt myself out.
Yeah.
So we got to have both those on and off states, and negative and positive energy. What's funny is, I think you'll appreciate this one.
Yeah.
Negative and positive energy. Feel into this one.
Okay.
Do not exist until a human puts their consciousness on it.
Yeah.
So good and bad do not exist. And here's an example. You look out in the wild, and there's a lion that killed a baby deer. Oh my God, it's so sad. The lion killed the baby deer.
Yeah.
But what's so funny is God was there, energy was there, and that's a circle of life. That is not good or bad. It just is. But we will go, oh my God, it's so bad, or it's so good. But things aren't good or bad until we apply our human reasoning to it. So the more that someone can see that that everything exists in equal potentials, the less we have of a swing, what's called a rhythmic swing, the less we have of like, oh, my life's so amazing.
Yeah,
my life's so horrible. You see it, right? You see it in relationships.
The highs and lows. Yeah, those highs, extreme highs and extreme lows. Yeah, I think it's good just to keep things very, just, very stable.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think those are the principles that I bring into the coaching. And now, having worked with thousands of people to create a healthy body, and there's some physical things that I think are very, very helpful from the standpoint of that. Is one principle I'd like to give that's from the physical standpoint, kind of away from the quantum stuff, but physically, I think it'll be fascinating for your listeners, is that most of us, when we're born, we are born to burn fat. Fat is the most incredible fuel source. Your brain, you're literally at genius level IQs, at your highest level IQs when you're burning fat. You're energized. Your health is incredible. What most of us with life stress, and you can see with what happened with COVID, life stressors, we tend to start drinking alcohol and eating sugar and eating breads. And what happens is your brain stops utilizing fat and it'll start burning sugar. So this is one of the big principles I love to teach people, is we've got to get you away from burning sugar and back to burning fat. And a lot of people from the standpoint of many types of cancers use sugar to metastasize. So this is why people with cancer have to remove all sugar from their diet. So I have people go, you know what? Let's just not wait to have cancer. Let's just remove sugar now. Because it really is one of the things that's causing us to be really, really sick. So that's kind of a good physical note.
Yeah, I love that. When you start working with someone, and do they have a hard time embracing your philosophy with quantum physics and that energy? Because it can get a little deep for people. I love it, but some people probably it's hard for them to wrap their head around. So what does that look like when someone comes in and might not know how to feel about that?
That's a great question. I love your question. First of all, now that since COVID, I've been able to do this virtually. So I have people all over the world that I do these virtual consultations now, Australia, Canada, Sweden, all over the world. So I don't teach anyone my philosophy.
Okay.
I work within someone's parameters of what they understand. So if someone's is a Christian, then we talk about their religion. We'll talk about Jesus. If someone's Buddhist, we'll talk about Buddha. Instead of replacing the word energy, I'll just talk about Jesus and Buddha and whatever the God is at the time, because it's all the same thing. So it's important from a rapport standpoint, and at a certain point, I wait for people to ask me. Sometimes people go, hey, you seem to really understand Jesus. And I go, yeah, I just understand the principles of energy. And, I have studied about Jesus. And so once you understand, I've studied 7 major religions. So when I know the backing of those religions, I just plug in whatever terms they need to hear.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because then you're willing to receive it and you're more open and it just is a nicer experience.
Oh, wow, love it. And so what does that look like if they reach out to you? So if someone's listening to this right now, I'm like, man, I'm having a hard time with my weight loss. I want to really get to the root cause of it, and I'm loving Dr. Cody's approach. What does that look like when they reach out to you?
Oh, thanks for asking. So first of all, there's the I know we'll give the links later, but fast40weightloss.com. Someone can schedule an appointment with me. I actually take time to go through number one and find out what stressors, what's gone on in the past. This is what most doctors aren't doing.
Yeah.
In 1970, it was required. I don't know if people know this. It was required for a medical doctor to talk to you.
Hmm.
After 1974, they didn't have to ask you any questions. So no one goes to the doctor and goes, "Hey, I've got a headache." The doctor doesn't go, "Well, let's talk about your life." No one does that anymore.
Right.
So we actually sit and we discuss what's going on in your life, what could be causing this, and what do we need to do to get you back into place, which is what I think we were supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. Like I remember I actually went to the dentist. I know it's not a doctor, but I went to the dentist and she wanted to tell me everything that could go wrong instead of like, and I just did not like her approach. I said, I don't need to hear the doom and gloom. I like, I just want you to do like take care of my teeth. Like I don't want to hear this. That it was just so bizarre to me, and they actually kicked me out of the office. She wouldn't see me because I just did not like her approach. Like I'm the patient. I'm the patient. Like this is my body, not your body. You're not going to sit here and tell me this, that, and the other thing. It's not going to happen. But anyways, where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more, Dr. Cody?
Oh, thanks for asking that. Well, let's see. So first of all, our book on Amazon. It's called The 4 Secrets to Permanent Weight Loss. You'll find me, Dr. Cody Golman, or go to fast40weightloss.com and you can click and register. There's training videos. You can reach out to me, make an appointment. And it's been exciting. I love if someone reaches out and loves to get the book. The book has got some secret stuff in there that is just incredible. So
yeah, I love it. This has been an amazing conversation. I could keep talking to you forever.
I know you too. You too.
Have a part 2 to this because
what
you're talking about is so like insightful and really educational to people to understand a little bit more about their health and the journey that they can get on to living a better, healthier, stable life instead of not dealing with it and just taking medications, because I'm against that.
Yeah. I totally agree. And that would be fun to do round 2 if we go for it. It would be really fun to be able to dig deeper into the quantum principles. And, I do the high level quantum coaching with people, and it is based on those principles to see if we can stop the swing. But that would be so fun to do.
Maybe you can tell them what my energy is telling you.
Yes. Energy? Like how so?
Oh, I don't know. You said the woman came to you and she said that she had a digestive problem, but what she was really telling you was that her husband treats her badly. I don't know. You just said that. You're almost like a mind reader.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, I can see like just feeling into you. You have a high level intellect, but you're also someone that moves really, really fast and wants to get things done.
Yes.
And so I can see that in you. Your energy is like, let's go. So it's important that if I'm coaching and working with you, I'm going to make sure we actually take time to actually pause and just be with self and also be in parasympathetic relax. Because that's something that you can keep going and going and going, right?
Oh, yeah. That's for sure. Yes. You nailed it. Well, guys, let's put all those links in the show notes. So don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Cody. If you connected with him, go purchase his book because I'm sure you will not regret it. And if anything, reach out, start a conversation and see if it's a good fit. Dr. Cody, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
I would like to leave this. There's a book called The 5 Regrets, and it was a book I wouldn't have read except when I got very, very sick. And it was the 5 regrets of that people at the very last, end of their lives said. And this was what they said: I wish I would have lived a life that I wanted, not the life others wanted of me. And if you really feel into those words, it's not just conscious, it's unconscious. Is a lot of us have injected beliefs from other people of what we should and shouldn't do. If you find yourself saying I should be doing something, it's probably not something you actually want to do. And I'm going to encourage people to really move towards the things that you want, not the things that others want of you.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. That's the whole premise for my show. Live label free. Live a life on your own terms, and not allow with society to dictate who you should and shouldn't be. So amen to that. This is awesome. We're going to have to do a part 2. This is one of my favorite conversations in a while. So thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Cody, for
you.
sharing your expertise and your enlightenment, because it is a little enlightening, even though it's been around forever. People just need to understand it and grasp it. So really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you for what you're doing. I love the show, and I so appreciate there's people like you speaking out and bringing guests like me on. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, you guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.